Hello student, welcome in subject Pharmacognosy 2 at Saraswati Institute of Pharmacy, Kurdish. Today's video, the given lecture is the classification of alkaloids. So first of all, we see the first lecture, that is the introduction of alkaloids. What we learned that lecture, in that lecture we learned the alkaloids are, what is alkaloids and what was the character of alkaloids. Alkaloids are in basic in nature, and they are secondary metabolites origin from plant. What are they? They are the secondary metabolites which is obtained from plant origin, and they contain the nitrogen atom or heterocyclic in nature. So they use as therapeutically active constituent contain, so use as a medicine. So last lecture we learned this. So now we will learn the classification of alkaloids. First of all, we learn to get pharmacological classification. Next, that was taxonomical classification. Taxonomical classification. Third one, biosynthetic classification, and fourth one, that is the chemical classification. So this is the four mainly classified alkaloids. In that, the first classification, that was the pharmacological classification. Now we see the pharmacological classification. What happened in this class, or alkaloids are classified in this class. So pharmacological classification in that class, the physiological action of drug or crude drug, that is measured classifier. On that basis, the alkaloids are classified. What happened in this class? The physiological action. What happened? Physiological action of crude drug. That is major activity of drug. On that basis, the drugs are classified, such as analgesic, purgative, antimalarial, hypertensive, anti-cancer. Like this wise, the pharmacological classification will be occurs. Analgesic in that the clove, purgative like aloe, antimalarial, quinine, hypertensive, atropine, and anti-cancer indica. These are the physiological basis of action of prodrug. They have alkaloids are classified by the pharmacological action on body or so. These are the pharmacological. Now we see the taxonomical classification. Next classification, that was the taxonomical classification. Next classification is taxonomical classification. What happened in this class? The taxonomical class of alkaloids are divided on the basis of their origin of nature. Origin of nature. Origin of nature. So, even the naturally alkaloids are many types. So, on the basis of we never get the distribution. So, these are the most important part of taxonomical classification in the alkaloid. So, there are origin, some or their species character, species of plants or animals, which we get the alkaloids. So we given some example of taxonomical classifications, such as leaves, in that the Inca, roots, in the Proalphium, and bark, that is bark, cinnamon bark. These are the taxonomical classified drug. Their nature is origin various part of fruits, plants, product. We get the alkaloid from this. They have to pharmacological active principle in that plant or part of plant. Now we next classify class, that is the biosynthetic class. What happened in biosynthetic class or how it will be classified? Biosynthetic classification. How do we classify on the biosynthetic way? In this class, the alkaloids are classified by precursors, which is synthesis of amino acids such as tryptophan, lysine, isoleucine. The nature of this classification, mainly role of secondary metabolites are used as precursor. They get the biosynthetic way to obtain such alkaloids. In this class, the amino acid, the main role of precursor, which upon that they obtain get the tryptophan, lysine, isoleucine, such like amino acids. They get the biosynthetic way. Means bio means live. Bio means living organism or living cells, and synthetic they obtain from any kind of process or reaction. On that they get the alkaloids. This is the biosynthetic classification. Next classification, that was the chemical classification. Next classification, that was the chemical classification. Chemical classification. So this was the most prominently used classified. So on the basis of chemical classification, most of drugs are classified, and this is most of drugs classified. So in this chemical classification, the nature of drug structure or behave chemically evaluated as a pharmacologically active. So chemical classification is most of important classification in that alkaloid classifier, because their chemically structure nature of compound or alkaloid that we have to differentiate other alkaloids. So in this chemical classification, there was the two classification occurs mostly. First, in that the heterocyclic classification of alkaloid, and second was non-heterocyclic classification. So this was most important classification. Mostly alkaloids are heterocyclic in nature, but there was some kind of alkaloids they are non-heterocyclic in nature, because they attach in the side ring of heterocyclic compounds by the hydrogen and carbon bond. So now we see the heterocyclic alkaloids, which they get the chemical, depend on chemical structure, they are divided or classified. So now we given here heterocyclic or non-heterocyclic alkaloids. Heterocyclic alkaloid. Heterocyclic classification of alkaloids. In that class, the most of drug, that is, now I just draw here the chemical structure of drug that contain, or they classify on the basis of that. This is the class of propane alkaloid, which they came to classify this is structure of propane alkaloid. In that, the structure of CH2, CH, NH and CH2. This class, the drug has to be include atropine, hyoscine. This class is a propane alkaloid. This class includes atropine, hyoscine, cocaine, like drug. Now you are very well get understand from this structure the class of propane alkaloid. In that the example of drug that is actively principal. These are the atropine, hyoscine, and cocaine. The next class is the phenolic. This is the phenolic class. Phenolic alkaloids. In this class, the active principles drug that is quinine, quinidine, synthonine. These are the active principles or pharmacoactive agents that is included in quinine class. The structure of in this the two benzene ring which is attached one nitrogen atom in between the quinine class, they get the quinine and quinidine. So next that is isoquinine. I just write down here isoquinine. It is same structure as a line, but there is a different attachment of nitrogen atom on iso position of benzene ring. In that, this is isoquinine. In this class, example of imitate, cephalin, tubuculin. These types of drugs are included in isoquinine category. So, narcotic also include this narcotic. Isoquinine categories, narcotin also include. So next class is write down now here. One by one we will understand that the structure of alkaloids, heterocyclic alkaloids, and their classifier on the basis that structure. So next is the class structure. This is phenanthrene structure. Phenanthrene structure. In this, the drug which has contained the classifier of phenanthrene, morphine, which is the pharmacologically active principle example of alkaloids. Next is the drug of classifying, that is pyridine and piperidine. It is simplest structure of pyridine and pyridine, in which this is the benzene which is in their para position there is nitrogen atom attached. It's called as pyridine. Pyridine. And next structure that was that nitrogen atom can get attached to the hydrogen atom. So this is a pyridine structure. Pyridine and pyridine. In this categories, the lobidine, lobidine and choline drugs are included. Next, that is a pyrrole and pyrrolidine structure. Same as lead, but the pyrrole and pyrrolidine drug can be structured is 4-member ring structure. 5-member ring structure. In that, the nitrogen atom in 5th position of. Now we see here the pyrrole and pyrrolidine. In this category, the structure will be 5-member ring NH, like this way. The hydrogen atom will be attached on para position. In this class, the active principle containing drug, that's coca species and IC and coca species. This is the classification basis on the structure, heterocyclic nature of structure benzene category. Now we see the on the basis of another classification way. First thing there, true alkaloids. Second, true alkaloids, pseudo alkaloids. This is in true alkaloid. There is a nitrogen atom containing drug can be classified atoms containing drugs. They are in heterocyclic nature. Heterocyclic in nature. And in pseudo what? It will be in non-heterocyclic. Heterocyclic. And nitrogen atom will be attached in cyclic chain in outside of the ring. This is the second another classification of alkaloids. Thank you. Here's the end of classification.